Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am here filming on Monday, September 15th for Wednesday, September 17th. And it is Wednesday night here at the Fifth Dimension Radio Studios in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. And you know what that means. 10 Cent Beer Night, the official sports show of FifthDimensionRadio.com. I'm Seth, and you're just going to have me today. Bob had other things he had to focus on, and we couldn't have time to put together another co-host here, so it's just going to be me winging it today. And I hope you guys are doing well. Beautiful, beautiful week here in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. And a lot to talk about. A lot's going on as September is, we're going to the second half of September here, and that is when football starts to heat up on all levels, and baseball starts to wrap up, and playoff seeds start to clinch, and we get a better picture of what the playoff picture is going to look like going into October, which is an exciting thing. But first, this Friday. First we'll start with this. I do want to say a quick shout. I want to thank Jason Miller and his crew and Little John for inviting Fifth Dimension Radio out to the Adios Amigos event that happened this past Saturday in Cuyahoga Falls. For those that do not know, Little John is a local famous TV personality. He's been on Channel 8, the Fox channel, for locally Fox, I should say, for probably since the 70s. And he's done a lot of entertainment skits, movies, hosting his show with Big Chuck, who we lost about a year ago. But they hold a special place in Cleveland's heart. So Lil Jon's officially retiring. That's what the event was for, and it was to celebrate his career and his time here in Northeast Ohio. And it was an honor that, he's a Cleveland guy. His career was in Cleveland, but the party was in Cuyahoga Falls. So that was kind of cool that, it was more locally in our area here, and the Fifth Dimension could be a part of that. And I know people that went and said they had a great time. I unfortunately was not able to make it, but a lot of good stories were shared. A lot of, just the vibe was, Little John always brought a good vibe with him. Okay, I've met the guy before. I met Big Chuck too, and it was a fun, welcoming atmosphere as he always has presented, and that's the gist of what I got was that the party on Saturday. So a shout out to them, and we really appreciate Fifth Dimension being a part of that there. This past week, Friday, we FifthDimensionRadio.com hosted their high school game, which was Barberton at Cuyahoga Falls, the last game at Clifford Stadium for Cuyahoga Falls, as we had talked about last week. Barberton rolled in that one. And we move on to the next one. This weekend is going to be a good one that I look forward to once I saw the high school football schedule. A backyard brawl of the Ellet Orangemen at the Mogador Wildcats. And just to give you kind of a brief summary, these guys are just, what I would say, 10 minutes down the road from each other, something like that. They're not very far. Ellet's more closer to Akron than Mogador is. Mogador is like at the line of Summit and Portage County there. But both these schools, this is kind of like I described it to Bob as if Field High School is the Pittsburgh Steelers to Mogador, which Mogador would be the Cleveland Browns in this case, then Ellet's the Baltimore Ravens. Like, they do not, these two teams want to beat each other. They want to show who's the better team in the area. And that is the game we're hosting at Mogador. So, first I want to read off upperclassmen, a list I got for the Ellet Orangemen. Bob Fritz's alumni there. So just some players to watch out for. Senior running back and outside linebacker Brandon Knowles. I know his name has popped up in a lot of the searches we've done looking into this. Junior running back and free safety Brandon Guest. Senior strong safety and free safety. So this guy plays both safeties. Cordell Downing. You have senior Terrence Parker. He's a wide receiver and a cornerback. You have senior Jay Lutz, who is a wide receiver and a free safety. Junior Andrew McElroy. He's a wide receiver and a middle linebacker. Junior Keontae Ulmer. He's a wide receiver there. If I say these names wrong, by the way, I do apologize in advance. Matt Kramer, he's a junior wide receiver and middle linebacker there. I like these guys that play offense and then linebacker. It's like they take the hits, but they also give the hits back to you when they get the chance. Andrew Statler, he's a senior defensive end and punter. Now that's impressive. And you have a senior CeCe Wilson, who is offensive guard. You have junior Jonas Almonds, who's a defensive tackle. He plays the whole defensive line there. Senior Lucas Adkins, who's a center and a guard. And then you have Cody Lutz, who is junior tackle and guard. I wonder if he's related to Jay there. That would be interesting. Or they just share the same last name. I don't know. But that's your Elliott Orangeman upperclassmen that are going to be playing the game. Elliott is 1-3. I believe let me see. I think they lost. No, it doesn't say here, but I can pull up the schedule here on the app. They did lose last week to Lions 26-0. Their one win was against Field 29-27, but they lost to Talmadge, they lost to Kent Roosevelt, and they lost to Alliance. So then they'll go play Mogador this week. For Mogador, they are 3-1. As far as their roster is concerned of upperclassmen here. Gabe Boylan, junior defensive end and tight end there. Quarterback and cornerback. Yeah, quarterback and cornerback. You heard me right. Junior Cade Thomas there. You got another quarterback and cornerback, Adrian Merck. Again, so if they throw an interception, they could go get the interception back on the other side of the field there. Junior free safety and running back, Maddox Smith. Junior middle linebacker and running back, Zachary White. Senior defensive tackle and running back, Danny Dunstan. Now that's a combo right there. Senior outside linebacker, Aiden Boylan. You have senior defensive end and fullback, James Pollock. You have junior Alex Jarvis, who is tackle and guard on the offensive line. Junior Logan Pollock, who is guard. You have offensive tackle, junior Shane Thomas. And then you have defensive tackle and center, junior Caden Shaw. And then you have senior offensive guard, Christopher Wonder there. And so, pretty young group. I see a lot of freshmen and sophomores, too, on this Mogador team. But, again, they are 3-1. Mogador is usually tough. I don't know when the last losing Mogador football team was. I honestly can't. They did win against Malvern last week, 28-14. The rest of their schedule, they beat Crestwood in their first game. They beat Cuyahoga County High School in week 2. They lost to Dalton 28-19 in week 3, but that win against Malvern will pick up kind of the momentum there. They do not play Field this year, and I don't know why. Usually that's the big game between the two schools in the area, but the second biggest would be Elliott, and so that's going to be the game this week. So pre-game, probably 6:30 p.m. here on FifthDimensionRadio.com. And so game would start at 7 p.m. We'll listen to Smack Talk between Ron, our announcer there. He's from Mogador High School. That's his alum. And, like I said, Bob Fritz is from Elliott High School there. So there's definitely going to be some words there in the booth there, but everything sounded great. I tuned into the game this past Friday, and the guys are doing a good job. And a lot of parents and players and schools are really appreciating what Fifth Dimension Radio is doing, getting some of these schools out there and just broadcasting the game and giving them a little media attention, a little time to shine there. So this was, I think, second in my top 5 games we were going to cover, if not first. I knew this was going to be a good one. I'm hoping it's a good one. I do predict Mogador as the winner here. Sorry, Bob. It's just that, Mogador is usually very, very good. I guess last year they beat up on Elliott too. But we'll see what happens. Again, this is a young Mogador team. Not that that's ever stopped them before. But both teams have had their losses and their wins as of now. So we'll see how that goes. So just tune in this upcoming Friday. And that is Eastern time, by the way. 6:30 p.m. Eastern time is when pregame will start there. So focusing our attention on baseball. Oh my goodness. I don't know when I've seen a team that had a hard time hitting as much as the Guardians and still find ways to win. They went 6-1 last week, ladies and gentlemen. 6-1. They took, I think it was 3 out of 4 against the Royals. I want to make sure I got my info correct here. Yeah, they took 3 out of 4 against the Royals, and then they swept the White Sox in a 3-game series here. Most of these games were close except for their first one with the Royals. It was 10-2. The rest, their one loss even to the Royals, we're talking by 2 or 3 runs. They did beat the White Sox 4-0 on Friday. So that was they actually had 2 shutouts. They beat the Royals 2-0 last Tuesday and the White Sox 4-0 last Friday. As a result, so this is what we're looking at here, okay? I'm going to pull up. They are 6.5 games behind the Tigers. There's 13 games left, okay? 13-14. Everybody's got a different situation the next 2 weeks. So 6.5 games. They play the Tigers 6 games this next 2 weeks. So this is tightening up. So we're looking at the wild card spot. Okay, for the American League, your division leaders first. You have the Blue Jays at 87 wins. They're actually the best team in the American League right now. Tigers at 85 wins, the leader of the Central. And Mariners at 82 wins, leader of the West there. In the wild card, your leaders for the wild card right now are Yankees at 83 wins, Red Sox at 82, and Astros at 81. 2 games behind the Astros are the Rangers with 79-71. 2.5 games behind the Astros are the Guardians at 78-71. 6 games behind the Astros are the Royals at 75-75, and then 7.5 games back behind the Astros are the Rays at 73-76. Everybody past the Rays is pretty much done. The Rays are barely hanging on. I mean, at the end of this coming week, we'll know for sure if they're still in the conversation or not. The way they've been playing, I would say no. I would say keep your eye on the Royals, but I think the Rangers and the Guards will make a case for a run at the final playoff spot there. For the National League, Milwaukee Brewers were your first team in Major League Baseball to clinch a playoff spot. They are 91-59. What an impressive season by the Brewers there, leading that National League Central there. The Philadelphia Phillies, about a day or two after the Brewers clinched, also clinched at 89-61, so they're in. LA Dodgers are leading the West at 84-65. Overall, not a bad week for them, and I expect them to clinch soon. In the wild card, the Cubs are 85 wins, Padres 82, Mets are 77. A game behind the Mets are the Giants at 75-74. 2 games behind the Mets are the Diamondbacks at 75-75. 2.5 games behind the Mets are the Reds at 74-75. And the Cardinals are 4 games behind the Mets at 73-77. Marlins are 70-80 with 7 games behind them. Everybody past the Marlins has pretty much eliminated, including the Atlanta Braves, who me and Bob both thought were going to be excellent this year. And the Marlins barely have a case. It's like same thing with Tampa Bay, those 2 Florida teams down there. At the end of the week, we should know if they're still in the conversation or not. But look, the National League race is even tighter than the American League, as you have San Francisco, Arizona, Cincinnati, and St. Louis still heavily in the conversation. Right, I mean, it's going to be tough. I know the Giants lost the series to the Dodgers this past weekend, and that kind of hurt them there. So it's going to be interesting. But, I mean, we got, again, 2 weeks left of baseball. So that being said, for the Guards, because the local team we cover here, local Major League team. This is the rest of their schedule. I am going to tell you the rest. This week, so while we're talking, they're wrapping up a series against the Tigers at Detroit. So by the time you hear this, you already know how the outlook is looking for this first series here. But if they can take at least 2 out of 3, they'll be good. They got to win the series, though. They have to win. This is mandatory. They have to win the series here. They play a 4-game weekend set, including a doubleheader on Saturday against the Minnesota Twins. WKYC Channel 3 picked up Friday's game, okay? So that's the... I mean, Fox Sports 1 did pick up Wednesday's game for Detroit, but that's already happening while I'm talking. But... So, with the Twins, if you're a Guards fan, you like that, because the Twins have not really played up to par to where they should be. They kind of fell off the map a bit. There might be some changes there to the team in the front office and everything. But that's it's similar to the White Sox. They should be able to swim. If they can't swim, they have to take 3 out of 4. Anything that's not winning the series, and I mean saying tying the series would be bad here, is gonna hurt them. They have to. This is a Twins team they can beat even with the so-so hitting. They can go out there and get the job done and stay in the conversation. The last week, and this is where things get crazy, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, their last full week of baseball, Tuesday through Thursday, they have Monday off. Okay, 3 games set. It's all Cleveland. It's all a Cleveland homestand. Okay, they play Detroit. That is going to be huge. That could be a deciding factor. If that's not a deciding factor, they have 3 games against the Texas Rangers, who are fighting the Guards for the last wild card spot. So their last 4 series, 3 out of 4 are in the playoff conversation, with the Twins being the only team that's not. So things are going to get heated here for the Guards. So what they have to do, they have to hit the ball. I know you keep hearing me and Bob talk about that over and over again, but I mean it goes without saying. I've already been thinking about next year a bit because I've been watching some of their top prospects play. Bazana was killing in Columbus, and he's been put on the IL for there was some minor injury. I think it was a foot injury. Okay, I'm going by memory here. I don't have it in front of me. He is out for the rest of the season. It's nothing. It was a 7-day stint, but they said that he's not going to play the rest of the year. They're going to just sit him down. He's had a great run. I think if you're the Guards, and I know this is not over yet, but when they go to the playoffs, they can't be hitting the way they. If they go to the playoffs, they cannot be hitting the way they are, or their playoff run just it's over. Forget about it. Like they're going to get manhandled out there in October. Yes, you could say about the pitching, but the pitching's even been inconsistent. It's been great or it's been bad. One of those. There's some middle ground with the pitching there, but watching some of their prospects, I think you have a big call up in the beginning of next year. Okay, I think you have Chase DeLautner in the outfield, the first round pick that got hurt and was out for the year. I think you get him on the opening day roster. I think you get Travis Bazana to be your starting second baseman on the open day roster. You get Kifus, who's been playing well. He's in the outfield also with Kwan and DeLautner. You give Lane Thomas one more chance, and you say if he doesn't do it, you call up Alfonso Rosario, that guy that's with the Rubber Ducks right now, Akron Rubber AA outfield that I'm very sold on. Actually, I think Rubber Ducks, they wrapped up their season yesterday, so they're done. So he would be done, but I'm telling you, he could be worth calling up next year even. But I think you get an upgrade at shortstop and catcher, and it doesn't have to be stars, but you get some help there. I will say Danny Espino, if you don't know the name, he was their top prospect starting pitcher. He has not pitched in 3 years because of surgeries and whatnot. He pitched for the first time for the Rubber Ducks the other day. He struck out the side in his first time at the mound. That was impressive. So could he be in the conversation in the rotation next year? We'll find out there. I do got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about college football. Ohio State manhandled a MAC team, and Akron actually played very well. We'll talk about that and more. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Our second segment of 10 Cent Beer Night here on FifthDimensionRadio.com. I'm Seth, your host today. And going back, college football time. And it just gets better and better every week. I love college football. And especially with the new playoff format. You know, I think this is... I think finally NCAA football... I know there's people that still complain about the transfer portal and the money the players could get paid and the impact it's made on the game, but I think there is a big bright side to all of this, and I think with the new playoff format and the rankings and everything, I think we're going to see more and more quality games going forward. So your the teams that lost in the top 25 this past week, and most of them won, obviously, as it is every week. But we did have some upsets there. Number 12 Clemson was upsetted by Georgia Tech, 24-21. Georgia Tech hit a 55-yard field goal to win it. I think Georgia Tech's about to be ranked too. They're 3-0, and they beat number 12 there. So I think they're going to move up in the rankings there. You had, let's see, number 6 Georgia beat number 15 Tennessee 44-41 in overtime. That was a great game there. Good SEC matchup for all you folks at home. Number 5 Miami beat up number 18 University of South Florida 49-12. So Miami playing some great football to start the season off there. Number 16 Texas A&M in the final 4 seconds beat number 8 Notre Dame 41-40. A touchdown strike to win the game there, to tie the game, and the extra point won the game. Notre Dame is now 0-2, and I expect them to drop drastically in the rankings there. So Notre Dame, it's not, with the new playoff system, it's not too late for Notre Dame, but it's not looking good either. So that will be interesting. And Vanderbilt beat up number 11 South Carolina 31-7, which shocked me because, you know, you have let me pull this up here. Sellers, he either got hurt, I think, or benched or something. I think he got hurt. He's the top quarterback prospect going into this next draft. He went 5 for 6, 93 yards and an interception. Dottie comes in, does 18 for 27, 148 yards in the interception. So I think that's why Sellers got knocked down somewhere, and he was hurt. Let me see. Concussion protocol, yeah. So that's what happened there, because that one surprised me a bit. I mean, Vanderbilt's expected to be solid this year, but I didn't think they were going to be up on South Carolina like that. So there you go. Week 14 matchups to look out for outside our Big Ten and MAC right now. Noon on Fox on Saturday. Number 17 Texas Tech will be at number 16 Utah. So that is one to look out for. Number 22 Auburn will be at number 11 Oklahoma at 3:30 p.m. on ABC. Let me see here. 7:30 p.m. on NBC. Number 9 Illinois at number 19 Indiana. A good ranked Big Ten matchup for you. So those are some games to look out for as well. In the Big Ten this past week, real quick, Indiana State got whooped by number 22 Indiana. Actually, no, they went up in ranking. I just said they were, I think, 17. 73-0 they won, though. New Mexico actually beat UCLA 35-10. UCLA drops to 0-3. They were predicted to win that game. Ohio State beat up on Ohio 37-9. Ohio hung in there for a minute, but Ohio State then did their thing and took them out. Maryland beat Townsend 44-17. Number 23 Team Up North beat up Central Michigan 63-3. Number 19 Alabama beat up Wisconsin 38-14 in Tuscaloosa. In Nebraska, the Cornhuskers there, they beat up Houston Christian 59-7. Number 4 Oregon beat Northwestern 34-14. Final at Michigan State 41, Youngstown State 24. In the Pennsylvania matchup, it was not much of a matchup as number 2 Penn State runs away with it 52-6 against Nova. West Coast games there. USC beats Purdue in Indiana 33-17. You had Norfolk State get crushed by Rutgers 60-10. Number 9 Illinois beat Western Michigan 38-0. Iowa beat Massachusetts 47-7. So Big Ten, all MAC opponents that went up against the Big Ten lost. And then California beat Minnesota in California 27-14, and California's 3-0. Not part of the Big Ten, but impressive start for California right there. So week 4 in the Big Ten here, Friday, September 19th, 8 p.m. on Fox. Iowa at Rutgers, and Iowa are 2.5 favorites there. Saturday, September 20th at noon and NBC, you have Maryland at Wisconsin, and Wisconsin is 7.5-point favorites there. 3 p.m. on the Big Ten Network, Oregon State at number 6 Oregon, and Oregon's 35.5 favorites there. 3:30 p.m. on NBC, Purdue. We have a Indiana matchup as Purdue will be at number 24 Notre Dame, so Notre Dame dropped to 24 from 8. Notre Dame is 26.5 favorites there, but Notre Dame has to do everything they can to make sure they don't go 0-3. 3:30 p.m. on CBS and Paramount Plus, number 21 Michigan will be at Nebraska. I said the M word. I'm sorry, everybody. The team up north is 2.5 favorites there. 7:30 p.m. on CBS and Paramount Plus, Washington at Western. Let's see here. Washington State. So it's a Washington matchup with Washington State. Washington is 20.5 favorites. 7:30 p.m. on NBC. I told you about number 9 Illinois will be at number 19 Indiana. So, and Indiana is 4-point favorites, believe it or not. So that would be technically an upset, but they're favored here at home. And 11 p.m. on Fox, Michigan State will be at number 25 USC. 17.5 favorites are University of South California right there. And Ohio State has the week off after a 3-0 start there. So there you go. For the MAC in week 3, mentioned Ohio State beating up Ohio. Akron lost to University of I had it at the tip of my tongue. UAB, Alabama, Birmingham, 28-31. They actually played well. Unfortunately, Akron only scored, I think, 7 points in the second half, and that pretty much decided the game there. Akron is 0-3 after their loss to UAB, but this was their best game yet. Buffalo edged out Kent State 31-28. Buffalo is now 2-1. Kent is 1-2. I told you about the team up north beat Central Michigan. Ball State beat New Hampshire 34-29. Ball State's first win of the year. Toledo beat up Morgan State, as the MAC usually beats up on Morgan State, 60-0. Toledo is 2-1. Bowling Green upsets Liberty at Bowling Green 23-13, and Bowling Green is 2-1. A good start for Eddie George, Coach Eddie George there. I told you about Illinois beat up Western Michigan there. University of Kentucky stomped Eastern Michigan 40-23. Eastern Michigan goes to 0-3, and then Iowa beat Massachusetts, as I told you there. Week 4 on September at noon on ESPNU, UNLV at Miami of Ohio, and UNLV, University of Las Vegas, there are 2.5 favorites. Noon on ACC Network, Bowling Green will be at Louisville, and Louisville are 25.5 favorites. I'm wondering if I'll take Louisville winning it. I'm wondering if that game's going to be a little closer. Bowling Green's playing very well. 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus, Wagner at Central Michigan. At 30 p.m. at ESPN Plus, you have University of Louisiana at Eastern Michigan, and University of Louisiana is actually 2.5 favorites. I'm going to take Eastern Michigan now. I think they win their first game there. 3:30 p.m. on ACC Network, Kent State at number 7 Florida State, and this is going to be a beatdown, everybody. Florida State is 45.5 favorites, and they're playing well out the gate this year. 3:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus, Troy at Buffalo, and Buffalo is 6-point favorites there. 3:30 p.m. on CBS Network, Ball State at Connecticut. Connecticut are 20.5 favorites there. 3:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus, you have Gardner-Webb at Ohio U. They don't have the spread for that one, but I'm going to take Ohio U definitely in that one. I think they're one of the better MAC teams this year, as much as I don't like to say that, just to be brutally honest with everybody at home. That's what I think of the situation there. I think Ohio's just going to be – they'll be in the MAC championship game if I had to pick there. 3:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus, Toledo at Western Michigan. Toledo are 14.5 favorites. 4:15 p.m. on SEC Network, Northern Illinois at Mississippi State. Mississippi State's 21.5 favorites. And 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, we have the Battle of Keith Dambrot. And what I mean by that is we have Duquesne at Akron. Again, this is football, but Keith Dambrot, the basketball coach, coached both of them in his career. So Duquesne will be Akron 6 p.m. I will not be at that game. I'll be out of town, but my Akron group will be at that game cooking some great food out at the tailgate outside the stadium. So there you go at InfoCision Stadium. Akron will be hosting Duquesne, and I'm hoping if Akron plays the way they get against UAB, they have a chance to win there. So we'll see about that there. I got some time left in the second segment. This is where I get angry because I'm going to have to talk about that Browns game. Okay, they lost. Me and Bob thought they were going to lose, but the loss was a little bit worse. Ravens celebrating their 30th anniversary of the Browns leaving for Baltimore, forming the Baltimore Ravens. We had their Super Bowl winning quarterback in Joe Flacco go up against Lamar Jackson, which both guys love each other. They were showing big hugs after the game and everything, and it's I think their first hug they've had together since Flacco left the Ravens there. But Flacco mentored Jackson, so Jackson thinks the world of him there. Browns defense did not play bad at all. They shut down Derrick Henry. That was a big plus right there. It's the same story as last year. The offense didn't do enough. They didn't stay on the field. The defense got tired, and as a result, they gave up more points than they should have. There was a block punt that hurt them. There was a fumble for a touchdown that also hurt them. Those were points the defense didn't, it wasn't the defense's fault there. There was an interception or a big play or something that led the Ravens to the red zone. The defense shut them down and only gave a field goal. That was big at the time. But I think the bottom line is this is last year all over again, okay? I don't blame – Flacco had one bad interception, but other than that, I don't think he played bad. Quinshon Judkins, the rookie that had no training camp and no preseason, he looked solid. 10 rushes for 61 yards, so 6.1 average. That's good. He looked good. Yesterday was Samson, the running back's birthday, and then Deshaun Watson's birthday. Watson did not play. Samson did have a touchdown because later in the game, to prevent Joe Flacco from taking more hits, and they've already pretty much lost. It was 41-10 at the time. They did put rookie Dylan Gabriel in, who the running backs in Gabriel led to his first touchdown pass of his career to Samson and cut the lead down 41-17. That's how they lost there. How much longer? This team on paper is not bad. When they're healthy, they're a very talented team, but this defense is solid and the offense is wasting it. I heard an interesting perspective by a fan. He thinks Kevin Stefanski's overcomplicating the offense because he said, we saw him change the offense up with Baker and production went south, aside from Baker's shoulder injury, okay? We saw it with Deshaun Watson last year. The offense got more complicated and he started throwing more passes in the dirt and holding on the ball too long. We're seeing it now with Flacco. And then he points out that this fan does. They put the backups in. They simplify the offensive playbook. And the ball moves. Let's rewind, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2020 playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kevin Stefanski is on this couch with COVID. Van Pelt is calling the plays. He runs probably the most simple offensive calls. It's get open, get the ball out fast for Baker, run the ball, but do play action once the running game gets going. Blew up the Steelers' defense and put points on the board. Are we overthinking life as people? Is our coach overthinking it here? Because Flacco's not a bad quarterback. I get it. He's 4 years old. He's still got a good arm. He's still healthy. Okay? He is holding the ball on too long. Turn on highlight reels of 2023 when Flacco was under center. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Got rid of the ball quick all the time. He didn't hang on to it too long, and when he did, problems that, and that's for most quarterbacks. Pat Mahomes was a rarity, okay? But the other thing with Pat is he liked to run the ball, too. Him and Lamar Jackson. So if they held on the ball too long, well, we'll find the opening and we'll take off. Flacco's not a running quarterback. He's got rid of the ball. He's got to get rid of the ball quicker, okay? Something's going on here. Something's not making sense. I don't care if we're just 2 games in. They should have played better yesterday. They should have won game 1. This is not good. All right? Like, something's got to get. He did say Flacco's going to start game 3. He's not changing quarterback. He was protecting Flacco, taking him out of that game. And I'm going to tell you something. Here's a bold prediction. People are going to think I'm crazy, okay? If there is a quarterback change, if there is, it will be after week 4 when there are 1-3, 0-4, whatever, okay? And it will, if there's a quarterback change, they're going to Deshaun Watson when they activate him off physically unable to perform list. Because he'll be available to be activated. He's supposedly healthy. He's his workouts have been fantastic. They're raving about it. If they pull the plug on Flacco, they're going back to Deshaun. They're not going to the rookie. Even though they're enamored, I think if that's the right word, with Dillon Gabriel. Because that was their guy from the very beginning, not Shedeur. And I think both should be evaluated properly. But I don't want to see both of them out there. Okay, Gabriel yesterday, that was one thing. One drive, protect Flacco, I don't care. They put points on the board, good for him. Okay? But I honestly think if there is a quarterback change, Watson is going to be, a healthy Watson's going to be the guy. And I'm curious to see what the results will be. Is it going to be tanking? Or is it going to be a surprise turnaround that nobody saw coming and it's going to overcomplicate the situation next year? Because hypothetically, I'm not saying this is going to happen. If Watson were to turn around and become the quarterback they traded for, okay, and he turns the season around, next year, the quarterback room on contract, on paper, would be Watson, Gabriel, and Shedeur. Well, do you still draft a quarterback with your first pick? And again, Browns might be 0-2, but so are the Jaguars, Browns own their pick. Okay, so right now Browns have 2 picks in the talks of the first overall pick. Well, so do the Kansas City Chiefs, if you're being technical here. But my point being is, if that were to happen, are they going to overcomplicate the quarterback room even more? Because if Watson flukes, it'd be a one and done thing. Hypothetically, right now Flacco is the starter. They need to do more for him, and I am blaming the play calling here. The players are playing as hard as they can. We didn't have really many drops yesterday. I was looking at the play call, and twice they threw it to the side to Isaiah Bond, and he wasn't open. But it was designed that way. Why did you call that play twice in a row? It just drives me nuts. I gotta take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about my predictions for the NFL games next week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our last segment of 10 Step here at FifthDimensionRadio.com. NFL football. I do want to apologize and correct myself there. I said Jacksonville Jaguars were 0-2. No, they're 1-1. Excuse me. And Browns own their pick there. So yeah, yesterday's games outside the Browns game I briefly talked about. Cincinnati beat Jacksonville 31-27. However, it came with a price. Joe Burrow out 3 months. He will have surgery on a grade 3 turf toe. Out 3 months. So that's going to really impact the rest of their season there. Their backup Browning did play very, very well though. Final and overtime, what a great game this was. Dallas beat New York Giants 40-37. Russell Wilson having a career game yesterday, but it wasn't enough to beat Dallas. Giants have not beat the Cowboys since 2016. Chicago Bears got destroyed by the Detroit Lions 52-21 there. New England Patriots beat Miami Dolphins 33-27. Miami did score a touchdown to tie it, and it was called back. So, that hurt them there. And New England goes to 1-1 and Miami 0-2 now. San Francisco 49ers beat New Orleans 26-21 with Mac Jones the backup there. New Orleans predicted to be the worst team in the NFL, but they've been in both their games so far, so they're not playing bad. I don't know if I could say they're the worst team in the way they're playing. I think they could pull out some more wins coming soon. Buffalo Bills beat up the New York Jets 30-10 there, and New York starts off 0-2. Buffalo 2-0. Seattle Seahawks beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-17. Each team are now 1-1. Steelers had an absolute mishap on a kickoff return where the ball bounced in. They claim the return didn't touch it, but the ball still bounced into the return area. It's a part of the new rules there, and went in the end zone and stayed there, and Seattle took it for a touchdown, and that's what pretty much sealed the deal there in that one. Rams beat the Titans 33-19. Titans were the worst team in the league last year, and they're already 0-2. Carolina Panthers lost to the Arizona Cardinals 22-27. Panthers came back. They were down 27-3 at a time, so that was impressive there. Denver Broncos lose to the Indianapolis Colts 20-29. Colts missed the game-winning field goal, and then there was a penalty on the play against Denver, moved them up 15 yards. Colts got a second chance and won the game. Philadelphia Eagles beat the Kansas City Chiefs 20-17 in Kansas City there. And Sunday night's game, of Atlanta, Minnesota. Atlanta beat Minnesota 22-6. Not gonna lie, it was a little bit of a boring game. Defensive game in a way. Both quarterbacks I thought were going to look better, but it is what it is at the end of the day. And then this past Thursday's game, Green Bay beat the Washington Commanders 27-18, with Green Bay's tight end Tucker Kraft having a career game there. So the games that have not happened yet that me and Bob predicted, Tampa Bay at Houston, and we both went Tampa Bay on that one, and that'll be on AB. Well, the game will be over by the time you hear this, and then the other one was the Chargers at Vegas, and I know I had Chargers. I forget Bob had Vegas or not, but those are the two games we do not know the results of at this time. So Week 3 predictions. Here we go. Thursday, September 18th. So tomorrow night's game there on Amazon Network, 8:15 p.m. You have the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. Bills are 12.5 favorites, and I am going with Buffalo here. I think it'll be a decent game. Miami start looking like themselves against New England, but they just don't have enough, and I'm wondering if the ownership is thinking about a regime change in Miami. They just have not lived up to the promises, and I think it's just time to go in probably a new direction there with I almost said McDaniels there, but with their coach who is their coach again there? Let me see there. Mike McDaniel. So I was right there. Mike McDaniel there. Mike, I think he is a brilliant football mind. I do think he's very smart. I think what disappointed me, and some people might not make a big deal, is I don't care if a coach doesn't need to wear a suit in the sideline, but he's at practice wearing sweats. I mean, sweats like he's sitting home watching football. And he jokes around, I think, with the players too much. You know, you're a $1 billion business. You're trying to win games. You're not winning games. And usually this time of the year, Miami, under McDaniel, wins their games. I'm going to go, Buffalo's going to go 3-0. Miami's going to go 0-3. And that's where things are going to get a little interesting for Miami there. Sunday's game, September 21st, 1 p.m. on Fox. We have the Green Bay Packers at the Cleveland Browns. Green Bay's 8.5 favorites. For those that don't know, when I was growing up, the Browns weren't around for a few years because they moved to Baltimore, and then they came back in 99. During that time frame from 96 to 98, those 3 years they weren't around. You know, I was a kid. I was in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and everybody had a football team picked. Browns weren't around, so Green Bay was my first love. I switched to the Browns when the Browns came back, but I always said, Green Bay, you can win as many games, beat as many opponents, and win as many Super Bowls as you want as long as you're not playing the Cleveland Browns. Don't say those jokes about the Browns in the Super Bowl. I do know what I said. I'm just saying in a hypothetical scenario there. This is the one time I cheer against Green Bay. However, I am going to pick Green Bay here. They are playing very well from the get-go, and Cleveland's just not. Jordan Love's one of the better quarterbacks in the league, I believe, and I think Cleveland overall will have a better game than they did against Baltimore, but I don't think it'll be good enough. I could see Green Bay by 9 or 10 points here, but I could see it being 17. I think originally 34-17, which is still wouldn't be great, but this is where it's going to be a rough go for Cleveland fans. If they can pull this game out, that would be big. They are predicting rain for Cleveland on Sunday, but we'll see. 86 in rain, so warm rain. Maybe it's time to run Judkins more there, but I am picking Green Bay in that one. 1 p.m. on Fox, the Atlanta Falcons at the Carolina Panthers there. Falcons are 3.5 favorites. I am going to take Atlanta by 3. I am. I just think they're the better team right now. Carolina is getting better. They're getting there. But I really liked a lot what Atlanta's defense did yesterday, including their 2 first-round pick rookies. I think that's going to be an impact in this game. I think it'll be more of a defensive game while Penix and Young keep trying to figure out their gameplay for this season, get in rhythm still, because I think they're both a little bit off right now. But I think at the end of the day, Atlanta's going to win that game. 1 p.m. on CBS, you have the Houston Texans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are 1.5 favorites here. I'm actually going to go Houston here. I have Houston losing tonight, Monday's game there. And so Houston would be 0-2, Jacksonville's 1-1. There seemed to be some friction between head coach Liam Cohen and Terrence Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, excuse me, Terrence Lawrence. Gosh, I'm having a bad name day today. Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that friction is going to carry on for the rest of the season. I do think, and I think Houston, they're going to be hungry for a win after an 0-2 start. Unless I'm wrong, if they beat Baker tonight, they'll be 1-1. But I think they're just a better team here. I'm going to go Houston here against Jacksonville. 1 p.m. on CBS, you have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are 3.5 favorites. However, even with Jake Browning, I am going to go with the Bengals. They've actually played very well with Jake under the center there. He's been getting the ball out quick, which is key. I thought he played the Jaguars very well. Minnesota's defense is solid, but I think J.J. McCarthy, he's still in rookie mode. I know he was rookie years last year, but with him missing all last year, he's still learning much of the game. And I think Cincinnati's defense is going to take advantage of that. I'm going to go with Cincinnati here, winning this game against Minnesota. 1 p.m. on CBS. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the New England Patriots, and Steelers are 1-point favorites here. I'm actually going to go with the Patriots. They're at home. I like the way they play against Miami. I think it'll be a high-scoring game because I think both Steelers and Patriots defense need a little bit of work. They're not terrible by any means, but I think they're like C+ grade defenses. But I love the way Drake May played against the Dolphins yesterday. I'm going to take New England by 3. I'm going to go with the Patriots here. 1 p.m. on Fox, you have the Los Angeles Rams going against the Philadelphia Phillies in Phillies. Oh my gosh, bad name day. Philadelphia Eagles. The Phillies already clinched their playoff spot. Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are 3.5 favorites. I am going with the Eagles here. Playing great out the gate again. Did the little things to just beat Kansas City. As long as they keep playing their game, they're going to win games here. I'm going with Philly. And I can say Philly by 7. I'll go with that. I could see it being a 24-17 game or something like that. I do think it'll be a close one, though. 1 p.m. on Fox, the New York Jets going and Tampa Bay to play Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are 7-point favorites there. Give me Tampa Bay, and give me Tampa Bay by 13 points. I just think they're the better team at the end of the day. Jets, it's a new regime. It's a rebuild. It will get better. I think they added some good long-term pieces over the last offseason that will do better as the season progresses. But I just am sold that Tampa Bay's the better team in this situation, so I'm going to go with Tampa here. 1 p.m. on CBS, the Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans. Colts 3-point favorites. I'm going to go with the Colts. Give me the Colts by 13, 14 points, somewhere along there. Colts are the first team in the Super Bowl era to not have to punt in their first 2 games. That's impressive. Nobody's talking about them. Nobody's talking about the Colts' good start here, but that's impressive. Not having to punt their first 2 games, and people didn't even have you as a playoff team this year. That's a great start. They could potentially not punt a 3rd game. I can honestly see that here this Sunday. But let's see if Tennessee's got anything to say about that. But I'm going with Colts. 1 p.m. on Fox, the Las Vegas Raiders go to Maryland to play the Washington Commanders. Commanders are 6-point favorites here. This one's going to be a tight one. I do think this is going to be a good game. I'm going to go with Commanders. Give me Commanders by 4 points. It could be 24-20, something like that. I do think it'll be close throughout the game. Commanders are favored by 6, if I didn't mention that. But I am going to go with Washington here. 4:05 p.m. on CBS, the 4 o'clock games here. Denver Broncos against their rival, the Los Angeles Chargers here. Chargers are 2.5 favorites. Give me the Chargers. Give me the Chargers by 10. I think it'll be a close game throughout most of it. In the fourth quarter, the Chargers are going to break loose and take a lead and never turn back. So, 4:05 p.m. on CBS. the New Orleans Saints at the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks are 7.5 favorites here. I am going to go with Seattle here. I will say it's a close. I think New Orleans is playing everybody tough now, which is good. Give me Seattle by 6. Seattle's still getting used to Sam Darnold down there, and they're working with their new offensive quarterback and their offensive weapons there. But I will give Seattle the edge here and say that they'll beat New Orleans. 4:25 p.m. on Fox, you have the Dallas Cowboys at the Chicago Bears. Bears are 1.5 favorites. I'm actually going to go with the Cowboys in this one. While the game was very surprising at how much points they gave to the Giants, the fact they handled themselves and found a way to win that game was impressive. And I just think they are a more seasoned and better team than Chicago is. I think Chicago has still some kinks to work out, especially the defensive side of the ball. I think offensively it will get better for Chicago as the season goes, but I think Dallas has got this game here. 4:25 p.m. on Fox, you have the Arizona Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers 1.5 favorites. Will that change if Brock Purdy's there? Maybe, maybe not. I'm going Arizona. I think that this is one of the weaker NFC West years you have seen in recent memory. I think Arizona's in the come up. Seattle is up in the air. They're going to either be there or they're not. Rams are good, but I think I think they're defensively they're not where they want to be. I think offensively they're one of the better teams in the NFC West. 49ers are going to take a dip. All 4 teams are going to be in the conversation at the end of the year is what I'm trying to tell you. And I think the Cardinals are the ones with a little bit more upside on both ends of the ball. I know they gave up some late points to Carolina. They should not have late in the game, but I think they're going to do better there with Gannon as their head coach. He'll work with the defense, get them tuned up there. But I'm going with the upset pick here. I'm going with Arizona. Give me Arizona by 6 points here. 8:20 p.m. on NBC, the Kansas City Chiefs at the New York Giants. Chiefs are 5.5 favorites. People are already expecting an 0-3 Kansas City start, okay? That is telling me something. I normally would pick Kansas City here. Call me crazy. The Giants have not looked terrible with Wilson. They look great, actually, this past week, okay? I'm going with the Giants. The Chiefs are in a tough situation that Mahomes has not been in for years. He hasn't been in his pro career. The last time he lost 3 in a row he was at Texas Tech, okay? And so that hasn't happened yet. A lot of people are saying they're going to go win 3. There's something they know that I don't know. My gut is saying there's an upset here. The Giants are irritated of the result of the first 2 games. They wanted to play better against Washington. They let one slip against Dallas. They're going to say, you know what? The world's watching us on Sunday night. Let's put on a show. And give me the Giants by 3 points. Part of me says 7. It might be a little more than that. But I am taking the Giants here. Call me crazy. That's my other upset pick there. And then next Monday, 8:15 p.m. on ABC, you have the Detroit Lions at the Baltimore Ravens, and Ravens are 6-point favorites there. Give me Baltimore. Give me Baltimore by 10. Just because it's in Baltimore, I think they're going to perform well at home. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a great game. These are 2 great teams. As much as I don't like Baltimore, I'm going to say it. It is a realistic potential Super Bowl matchup this year. If I were to line up teams I think that would realistically make the Super Bowl this year, Detroit would be on my list in the NFC. Baltimore would be on my list in the AFC. It's a potential match. So I think it's going to be a good one. Okay, I am going to pick Baltimore here though. Especially Henry had a bad game against the Browns. He's going to be angry. He's going to want to run the ball better against Detroit, and I think Detroit's defense still needs some work to do, even healthy. I think they're missing Aiden Hutchinson there. Offense looked more like themselves this past week than they did week 1. Again, they're without their coordinators. Their offense coordinator went to coach the Bears. Their defense coordinator went to coach the Jets. So it's all new coordinators, and that does make a difference, even with the amount of talent you have on your team. And I think Detroit took a minor step back. They're still going to be in it, but I don't expect the record they had last year is what I'm trying to say. They'll be in the playoffs. They could win the NFC North. I have Green Bay winning the NFC North, but they could still potentially win it. The NFC North is going to be a tough division this year. It is. I think Chicago will be better. Vikings will be in the middle there, but Green Bay and Detroit will be neck and neck there for the most part. As far as Baltimore goes, with Joe Burrow hurt, Steelers looking so-so, and the Browns being Browns, I think Baltimore's the runaway right now for the AFC North. And I can't stress I hate saying that, but if I'm giving you an honest prediction here, that's what I'm going with. I got to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening, seriously, and tune again. 10 Cent Bear Night on every Wednesday here on Fifth Dimension Radio.com. Don't forget to tune in Friday night for our high school game of the week, Ellet Orangemen versus the Mogador Wildcats. In Mogador, it's going to be loud, it's going to be crazy, as one of the best Akron matchups you can ask for in this early high school football season. Ron Whitmer out there with his co-host, Chris Canogo. Thank you. But Bob Felmy told me that, so I couldn't remember Chris' name. They're doing a great job, though. They are doing an excellent job. I've been tuning in the past couple weeks, and it's sounding good, it's looking good, and everybody is loving it so far. So tune in then. Pregame starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time here. So with that all being said, next week we're going to talk about what the Browns did. We'll talk about what Akron did. Ohio State has the week off. We'll talk about the guards. What is the playoff situation going to look like? Because things are heating up. It's looking so good. It's going to be a lot of fun there. So with all that being said, go Guards. Go Browns. Go Zips. Go Zips men's soccer. Go Zips women's volleyball. And whoever's playing this weekend. I'm out. You guys have a good one. Take care and enjoy the newly fall season. It does start this weekend, so enjoy.